Emma tapped her foot impatiently, her mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. The vibrant colors of the park blurring into an anxious haze, as if the world around her was closing in. She clutched her phone, rereading the last message for the 10th time, her fingers trembling slightly. "We know where you are." The words seemed to leap off the screen, taunting her. Her heart pounded against her ribs, each beat echoing the fear that gripped her. Who could have sent it? She scanned the faces around her, searching for any sign of recognition. And how did they know she was at the park? The thought sent a shiver down her spine. She had brushed off the first few messages as a prank. Wrong number, maybe? But deep down, she knew better. But as the text persisted, growing increasingly menacing, her sense of dread deepened. A knot of fear tightened in her stomach, making it hard to breathe. Each buzz of her phone sent a jolt of apprehension through her, her nerves fraying with every vibration. The park, usually a haven of peace, now felt sinister and exposed, shadows lurking in every corner. The laughter of children grated on her nerves, a stark contrast to her inner turmoil. The rustling of leaves sounded like approaching footsteps, each sound amplifying her paranoia. Emma longed for the comfort of her apartment, a sanctuary from the chaos outside. But the message echoed in her mind. "We know where you are." The words haunted her every thought. She glanced at her watch again, each tick a hammer blow against her anxiety. Where was Liam? He should have been here by now. He promised to come straight after work. His words replayed in her mind, a fragile promise she clung to. Emma desperately needed to tell someone, to share the burden of her fear. The invisible terror clung to her like a shroud, weighing her down with every passing second. She felt utterly alone, trapped in a waiting game with no end in sight. "He just keeps saying he knows where I am," Emma whispered, her voice trembling. She could barely hold back the tears.
Have you got any idea who it could be? An ex? Someone you had an argument with? Maybe someone from work?
Emma shook her head, her mind racing back through her contacts, her memories. No one came to mind. I haven't given my number to anyone new recently. I've been so careful. And I haven't argued with anyone, at least not seriously. Nothing that would lead to this.
Liam reached across the table and squeezed her hand, trying to offer some comfort. "Look, Em, it's probably just some stupid prank. Kids messing around. They do that sometimes. Don't let it get to you. We'll figure this out together."
But his words, though meant to reassure, did little to soothe her growing unease. The fear was still there, gnawing at her. The messages, their threatening tone, felt too personal to be random. They were targeted, and that terrified her even more.
"Show me the messages again," Liam said, his voice firm this time, the playfulness gone.
Emma scrolled through her phone, each message a fresh wave of nausea. "See? It's creepy. What if it's not a prank?"
Liam studied the screen, his jaw tightening. The messages were indeed disturbing, escalating from vague threats to specific details about Emma's day, her routine. He looked up, a flicker of fear in his eyes mirroring her own. This was more than just a harmless joke. "We need to report this," he said, his voice resolute. "This is harassment, Emma. You need to go to the police."
"I need to report harassment," Emma said, her voice barely a whisper. The fluorescent lights of the police station seemed to amplify the tremor in her voice.
The officer behind the desk, a woman with tired eyes and a weary sigh, looked up from her paperwork. "Name? What kind of harassment?" Narrator, Emma Miller.
Emma swallowed, the words sticking in her throat. "Text messages, threatening ones. The person says they know where I am, what I'm doing."
The officer's expression remained unchanged, a practiced mask of neutrality. "Have you blocked the number?"
"Yes, but they just use a different one and another. It's like they always find a way to reach me."
We've contacted the phone company, but the numbers are all burner phones, untraceable. We'll keep investigating, but for now try to stay calm. Don't respond to any more messages. And if you notice anything suspicious, anything at all, you call us immediately, understand? Narrator. Emma's heart sank. Untraceable, the word echoed in her mind, a death knell to her hopes of identifying her tormentor.
Emma nodded, a wave of helplessness washing over her. The police were doing what they could, but it didn't feel like enough. The threat felt like a dark cloud hanging over her, suffocating her with fear. The phone buzzed on her nightstand, the sound like a siren in the silence of her darkened apartment. Emma's breath hitched, her hand trembling as she reached for the phone.
"Don't think for a second that the police can protect you. We're always watching."
The message sent a chill down her spine, her blood turning to ice. They were right. The police couldn't be everywhere. She was alone, a sitting duck in her own home. Fear, raw and consuming, threatened to engulf her. Emma's carefully constructed facade of composure crumbled. She curled into a ball on the bed, her body racked with sobs, the constant ping of the phone a terrifying soundtrack to her fear. The break came sooner than expected. Detective Miller, his usually impassive face creased with a grim satisfaction, stood at Emma's door.
The person sending the messages. Turns out it was someone you knew, someone who had access to your schedule, your life, narrator. You got who? Emma asked, her voice hoarse with residual fear. S2, we got him.
He wouldn't reveal the stalker's identity yet, not until they had him in custody, but Emma could see the disgust in his eyes, the quiet fury of a man who dealt with darkness far too often. The news spread like wildfire. The stalker, unmasked, was someone Emma had considered a friend, a colleague from work, someone who, harboring a twisted infatuation, had resorted to terror when his advances were rebuffed. The arrest brought a wave of relief, a lifting of the oppressive fear that had haunted Emma's days and nights. The world once again felt safe, the constant dread replaced by a fragile sense of normalcy. The outpouring of support from friends, family, even strangers on the internet was overwhelming. Emma realized she wasn't alone. Her story, though terrifying, resonated with countless others who had suffered in silence. Life went on, but the experience left an indelible mark on her soul, a mark that time could not easily erase. A shadow of fear lingered at the edges of Emma's newfound peace, a constant reminder of the darkness she had once faced. The chime of a text message, a stranger's glance, a noise in the night, all had the power to transport her back to those days of terror, days when every moment was fraught with danger. She was safe now, but the world, once a place of comfort and familiarity, now held a chilling undercurrent of uncertainty, a sense that danger could lurk around any corner. The experience had changed her, instilling a sense of vulnerability she couldn't shake off, a vulnerability that made her hyper-aware of her surroundings. Yet, amidst the lingering fear, there was a newfound strength, a resilience forged in the crucible of fear. She had learned to navigate the shadows, to find light even in the darkest moments. Emma had stared into the abyss and emerged, scarred but not broken. She was a survivor, a testament to the human spirit's ability to endure and overcome.